An entire army was sent to take one single bridge, but they forgot about him. The year is 1066. In the Kingdom of England, King Edward the Confessor lies dead on his bed. He leaves no child, no clear heir to the throne. His death plunges Europe into turmoil as three men, three powerful warriors, believe the English crown is their destiny. Their ambition will define the year. The first is Harold Godwinson, the most powerful nobleman in England. He is English, he is respected, and he is on the spot. Wasting no time, he has himself crowned King of England, vowing to defend it from all invaders. The second is William, Duke of Normandy, a cunning and ruthless political operator. William claims the old king once promised him the throne. He begins to assemble a massive fleet and an army of knights, preparing to invade. But our story begins with the third claimant, the most feared warrior of his age, from the frozen lands of Norway. King Harald Sigurdsson, better known to history as Harald Hardrada. Hardrada, which means the hard ruler, was a legend, a giant of a man. He had spent years as an elite mercenary in the Byzantine Emperor's Varangian Guard, fighting and plundering from Kiev to Jerusalem. He returned to Norway, a wealthy and battle-hardened man, and seized the throne. Now he sees England as his final greatest prize. He is known as the last great Viking King, and he is not alone. Hardrada makes an alliance with a man who has his own reasons to hate the new English king, Tostig Godwinson, King Harold's own exiled, traitorous brother. In early September, the great Viking fleet, over 300 longships strong, sails from Norway. They land in the north of England and are met by the local earls at the Battle of Fulford. The English fight bravely, but they are no match for Hardrada's veteran warriors. The Vikings win a crushing victory. The city of York surrenders. Harold, Hardrada, and Tostig are now the masters of the north. They believe the hardest part is over. They are wrong. Hundreds of miles to the south, King Harold is on the coast, watching for William's invasion. Suddenly, a messenger arrives. He brings the catastrophic news from the north. His kingdom is being torn in two. He makes an impossible choice. He decides to face the threat already here. He turns his army around and begins a legendary forced march. For 4 days and 4 nights, his army marches, covering an astonishing 45 miles per day. This is an army of professionals, hardened and loyal, and their king marches with them. Meanwhile, the Vikings near a river crossing called Stamford Bridge are completely unaware. The weather is warm, and they have left their heavy chainmail armor behind on the ships, miles away. It will be their fatal mistake. Suddenly, a Viking lookout sees it. First a cloud of dust, then the glint of sun on thousands of helmets. Harold's army has arrived. The surprise is total. Panic erupts. The Vikings scramble for their weapons as King Harold's army charges down the hill towards them. Their only hope is to stop the English from crossing the narrow wooden bridge to buy time for the army to form up. And here the Norse sagas tell a legendary tale. That a single giant Viking berserker stood alone on the bridge. Armed with a mighty Dane axe, he held it against the entire English army. The legend says he killed 40 men, and the advance was completely halted by his fury. Finally, an English soldier took a small boat, floated under the bridge, and thrust his long spear up through the wooden planks, mortally wounding the giant from below. The berserker had bought time, but it was not enough. The English army flooded across the bridge. The main battle began. The Vikings fought with incredible ferocity, but without their armor, they suffered terrible casualties. Seeing his line buckle, Harold Hardrada himself entered a berserker rage, charging ahead of his men with a great sword. But this bravery exposed him. An English arrow, fired from the line, found its mark. The arrow struck him in the throat. The last great Viking king fell to his knees and died there on the field. Tostig Godwinson was also killed. The Viking army, leaderless and broken, was annihilated. Of the 300 ships that had sailed to England, only 24 were needed to carry the survivors home. It was a complete and total victory for King Harold Godwinson. He had proven himself a brilliant and heroic king. He had no time to celebrate. Just 3 days after his stunning victory, a messenger arrived with the worst possible news. William of Normandy had finally landed. King Harold had to turn his battered, exhausted army around and march another 250 miles south to face a fresh army of Norman knights. The Battle of Stamford Bridge ended the Viking Age. But for King Harold, the fight for England had only just begun. If you enjoyed this journey into the past, subscribe now and click the bell to see more epic history brought to life. Thanks for watching.